We're going to dispense with the invocation and pledge of allegiance this morning. And the call meeting business is discuss Kubota lease. We've been back and forth with them and this offer, counter offer, that sort of thing. But they've come to the down to $34,500 and they won't budge off that number. We're here today to see what we're going to do about it. Any commissioners got any comments? Either way.
What was the initial cost of that thing to get it paid off before it went towards that here?
$93,000.
$93,000.
So they've come off about 57%, something like that. So we'd carried it over to federal court. They sued us in Pennsylvania. Some lessons to be learned about this. Never lease nothing else unless they're home based in Georgia.
A good lesson at least would be go through all three commissioners when we do something. That'd be a good lesson to learn right there. Yeah. And but if we have to go through with this thing, I mean, if we just wanted to push through with it, you're looking at more than $34,000 if we had to fight.
Oh yeah.
It's a no-win situation either way you look at it right here, but you're not going to gain anything by fighting it any further.
Well, you guys read the background and all. Do I hear a motion to approve to pay this $34,500?
Does our legal counsel feel at this time that because 5 months ago when we were writing letters stating we didn't reappropriate funds, or we didn't appropriate funds, I guess at that time we felt as if it wasn't going to cost the county to get out of it.
At the time, if you're asking me a question, Mr. Johnson, when I wrote the lease, or when I wrote the letter, it was my understanding that the Board of Commissioners had not appropriated a piece of equipment, had not appropriated funds for a piece of equipment that didn't work. This suit is in federal court. It will have to be, they probably made a strategic mistake when they asked for more than $75,000 because that gives us the opportunity to move it from a Pennsylvania court to a federal court, which then brings Georgia law back into play. They didn't provide us an ante-litem notice. I believe we had some defenses, although some of those defenses were probably compromised in some of the discussions that took place in public in the Board of Commissioners meetings, because there was some discussion about whether or not all of the repair works were necessary, how much repair work was done, whether or not we had or you had or had not appropriated funds for it. So I can't tell you the exact posture of a defense of it at this point in time. I think to defend it would probably cost between $5,000 and $15,000 because it's got to be remanded to federal court, or you have to hire an attorney to fight it in Pennsylvania. They have recouped a lot of their money. The county had paid them a lot of money, so the exact amount of money that they're out at this point in time is somewhere between $25,000 and $30,000. And when I say the money they're out, I mean if they had gotten the full benefit of their contract with the county.
And if we would have continued paying our lease payment for the next 2 years, we would have still had a tractor cutting grass, and it would have been about the same amount. Now we're going to be paying $34,500 that we're not going to have any benefit. That's the reason, what leads me to say, it makes me wonder, because for one, the letter that was written, I want to make it clear and on the record that the Board of Commissioners, which was included in that letter, never voted to
That
my
is a correct
knowledge.
statement.
And 2 letters were sent out, one from Susan Hayes in, gosh, what was it? May have been last year, maybe November, and then the letter
That I didn't take.
that you did. And what I would ask from now on, I don't think they've given up any posture personally, because we're still having to pay them and we don't have a tractor. I think the whole problem where this all arrived from is the Board of Commissioners not being involved in any of these decisions. I'm sitting here pondering right now why I have to be involved now when I wasn't involved when this thing got stopped being paid for. I don't understand it. I wish someone could help me understand it. But the problem I have with doing this, if I do this and vote to just basically right or wrong, is what I would be doing. Without a doubt, this is the cheapest way, I feel, for the county taxpayers. Because if we fight this, we're gonna be looking at no telling what. And then, if I'm not mistaken, they could probably ask for more if we don't accept this settlement, correct? They could probably ask for the original amount.
They can't ask for anything more than what they've asked for in their complaint, except they could ask for additional interest.
But their original complaint was what, 70?
78 something and change, nearly 79.
So that's what leads me to believe that, I mean, the cheapest route for the county is to just accept this offer that they're making. But what I have to look towards is make sure this doesn't happen again. And I don't know what fail-safes we can put in place to keep this from happening again. Because if it hadn't been for a person calling and telling me, I wouldn't have heard from this county office that we'd stop paying for a tractor to begin with. So that's my concerns, is if I vote to do this, what is it gonna say for another situation like this a month down the road? That, I don't know. I don't appreciate though, I don't appreciate even having to be here today for a special called meeting, just simply because of a decision that I didn't have any choice in making.
For the paper and the press that's here, I did have a part in bringing that Kubota in the county. I voted bring it in. We brought it in under good faith. We needed a cutter. We thought this was the route to go. But for the record that as Earl, Mr. Johnson spoke about, I had no part in getting rid of this. But today is kind of a cleanup mess day. And there's just no way of fighting and gaining any ground if we fight this any farther. It's just going to cost the county more money. So this is the easiest route out, the cheapest route out. And whether you like it or you don't, it's a bitter pill, but we hang on to it. We're going to spend another $30,000 fighting it, going to Pennsylvania, sending whoever. So I feel like this is the cheapest route out for the county
Are you
taxpayer.
making a motion to approve this $34,500?
I don't see any other way out of it. I mean, it's the cheapest route out. I've studied this and looked at it, and if you fight it, you're going to stick another 30 or 40,000 in there. So, you got anything else?
I want to make sure that, so we as a county feel like now, at this point, I guess you've been advised by the county attorney that there is no feeling of, there is, I'm trying to find the right words to use. There is no hope, I guess.
No, that's not a correct statement, Mr. Johnson.
Well, I'm not finished with my statement.
I'm
I'm not,
sorry.
well, if that's not a correct statement, then why are we sitting here agreeing to this? Or this even been voting on? I mean, because just a month ago, no one knew why I asked to even talk about this. And now here we are a month later, and we've got this ready to go, ready to be settled and move on. And I just want to make sure before we do this, because I would have thought surely that if we would have sent letters like that we'd have had pretty good ground to stand on legally before we would have sent a letter like that. But now, I mean, in other words, not cost the county any money. But now it seems to be a completely different situation. We're sitting here contemplating voting for $34,500 and having nothing. So, I guess my question is what has changed from the time this thing was decided by whoever it was decided for or advised to stop paying for it? What has changed from then to now? Or maybe you're the best one to answer that question. I don't know. But what has changed when the decision was made to stop paying for this till now?
Okay, this thing really was in the shop, been in the shop more than just about an equal time as it's been on the road. There's no telling how much Kubota has paid Mason Tractor and Nelson Tractor to work on this thing. We went down there, it was in the shop, we never did go get it. We tried to get something to give us another tractor, there wasn't nothing doing. Now, the thing is, everybody talking about, well, we did appropriate money for a tractor that works out here on the road, okay? But we did not appropriate money for one that's in the shop half the time. And we tried to work out with these folks, and it never did work. So here's how we come down to this tractor with a track record. We'd spend a lot more than $34,000 keeping this thing running for the next 2 years. Plenty more than $34,000. For them rear hubs on those things, they don't give them away. And we can subpoena the record from Mason Tractor and also from Nelson Tractor in Blairsville and just see what it costs. But it is, it's a pretty good little penny, believe me. And it was documented.
Well, they have a
That the
timeline on
tractor-
this, do they not?
It didn't cost the county any money. It was all under warranty because you bought a warranty in the contract that you signed. It wasn't
A
costing the county. How was
warranty
it
for
gonna
the
cost the
tractor, but
county?
the Kubota warranty is out.
No, it's not. Well, I see, that's where we're gonna have to differ.
Well,
Because the
okay.
contract that you signed, which I have a copy of, says the tractor is under warranty for the entirety of the lease. So now if you're sitting here saying that it's gonna cost the county more to make your decision look even better by just paying this, you're definitely.
Hey, I'm not trying to,
Well, that's what
Commissioner,
you
I'm not
just said,
trying
sir.
to make anything,
That's
this
what-
is sad.
Well,
This is sad. This is the worst, in 6 years, this is the worst thing we've had to throw away. Well, no, it's the second worst thing that we spend money on, that we don't have nothing for. So, this bothers me considerably. And we'll do whatever we need to do to it not happen again.
What is that?
One thing is, believe me, the commission board will be in on the next.
Is that
at
because
least-
your decision or because that's what the law says?
What?
That the commission board's gonna be involved in? Are we going to truly start following what our local legislation says? Because we follow it in every other aspect with your job title. We follow it, and if anything is ever overstepped in that aspect, you're put back in your place. Now, you can't do that now. You're a post commissioner, you can't do that. But when you overstep your boundaries, we're sitting in here voting to right your wrong. So are
Okay.
we going to follow what I'm asking, are we going to follow our local legislation or are we not?
Yeah, since we're, local legislation is the law, yeah, we'll follow it. we'll follow that.
Because,
To
see,
our
I
best of our
wouldn't have,
ability.
I wouldn't have a problem being sitting right here, right now, if I would've been involved in this. And as you, it's upsetting for all of us. I mean, it is, I mean, because this is money that, I mean, I wasn't involved in doing it. I mean, I've had a similar situation myself with a prior tax assessor's board who I appropriated money for, but the difference is I made clear what money would be dispensed for. And we took a vote, and however we felt about that, everyone knew. But the thing is, key word there is we took a vote how to spend it or how not to spend it. In this situation, I wasn't, I mean, because if I would have been involved in this situation, then I wouldn't have voted to stop paying for it. Secondly, I wonder about the county's credit rating. This doesn't dispense of any of that, correct?
AAA bond rating.
We can't have AAA bond rating if we let a piece of equipment just go bad.
Go
Or
check it
we
out.
will.
That's, check it out.
So, let me ask you that question then. How is this gonna affect the county's credit?
I don't have any earthly idea. I mean, I don't do the finances for the county. I don't know if bond ratings have anything to do with this. I don't know that the county has any other blemish on its credit.
So who do we talk to find that out? If you're saying we have a AAA bond rating, because I'm gonna write that down. We have a AAA bond rating, even after this tractor incident. So,
The people that do our bond financing could answer that question.
that's what we'll find out. And I by no means wanna be complicated with this issue, but the situation is now, I've came in here today and the statement's been made, this was gonna cost the county a lot more to keep that tractor than $34,500. The statement has been made that it wasn't under warranty. Everything that wasn't a wear item was under warranty on that tractor. I mean, the contract in which the county paid good money for, paid for a 4-year warranty as long as the lease was on the tractor. So I want to, my opinion is it wasn't gonna cost the county $34,000 in repairs because it was all done under warranty. I don't know, I'm kind of I'm between a rock and a hard place because I wanna make sure that this doesn't happen again, and I just don't have that warm and fuzzy feeling that it's not gonna happen again. But the cheapest route is definitely what we're doing right now. If we don't accept this, I feel like that they're gonna go for the full amount. And more than likely, get the full amount because of the contract that was signed. And I think that's what everybody needs to understand is we signed a pretty ironclad contract. Or we did. The county signed a pretty ironclad contract, and I believe that we need to thoroughly go through our contracts from now on. Do not lease something anyway, and especially not out of state. And if we do have problems with it, it needs to be a board decision. Golly. Other than that, I really don't. But in this paragraph, Ms. Doss, it says in the mutual release that it will release the leasee, its affiliates, successors, and assigns all of their respective elected officials, appointed officials, members, directors, officers, employees, representatives, trustees, and attorneys from any and all outstanding obligations. So what that means, in your...
What that means is we can't go back and repeat the time we lost, the labor we spent, the guys when they tractor was down and we had to put them somewhere else, so that's really what that means. I mean, these guys, when the tractor was down, they had to be paid. So, anyway, that just releases, everybody from that.
Well, I was involved in bringing it in, so I guess I'm involved in taking it out. So I feel like this is the cheapest way for the county to go. And I make a motion, we accept this.
We have a motion, is there a second?
Did Mr. Simons already make that motion?
No, he didn't. Yeah, I asked for a motion. We have a motion, and I second that motion. So all in favor say aye. Aye. Okay, that's, do we need an executive session? Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Make that motion.
What about our meeting Tuesday
All in
night?
favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, since we have this meeting today, how do you guys feel about canceling the meeting next week and go to the end of the month, October 28th?
Absolutely not. I hope by next meeting we'll have the copies of the resolutions that it was asked for at the last meeting.
Okay.
Resolutions, you mean proposed ordinances?
Yeah.
I'm just making sure I got the right thing in mind.
I don't know, every time I say something within a week it changes. Whatever
All right.
I ask for.
Okay.
Thanks for coming.